Okay, we are moving on to honor Kimberly Schwab. We have the slide. Such a nice range of teachers here, from pre-K to phys ed to STEM to drama. I feel like we're really representing such a great range of topics. So Kimberly is a middle school science teacher. She's at the Speyer Legacy School, and her love and passion is for the natural world and helping these New York City kids understand where forests and fields, farm animals and plants, the ones that were prevalent in her childhood, what do they mean? How do they understand them? And she refers to this as the pigeon paradox, the concept that the health of the planet may depend on the experience urban students have of nature in their own backyards. That's a big influence on her teaching. I have to imagine she spends a lot of time in Central Park with these students. We'll have to ask about that. She's always wondering how she can teach better and to address very large questions. How can we stem the gap between, how do we close the gap between STEM fields and the humanities? How do we bridge it? She uses her classroom as a lab to ground these questions in a very hands-on way. So let's have Kimberly come up and tell us a little bit more about how she does it and celebrate her work.
I'm really grateful that at Speyer I've been supported in my kind of unconventional approach to treat science as a humanity. A discipline that's fundamental for understanding what it means to be human, to teach science embedded in its social context, and as a quest for beauty. Whatever we may be studying, Cepheid variables, blue crabs, candle flames. This approach meant inviting playwrights, fiction and poetry, teaching artists, scientists, and wonderful colleagues into the classroom, along with hydrogen explosions and mousetrap vehicles and microscopes. I'm grateful for the beautiful narrative that science has produced and the philosophers of science who are trying to explain what science is about, and how, most importantly, for those who write this in a very compelling way, and I can use the genre of science writing instead of in lieu of a textbook at Speyer. I'm grateful for my family and their willingness to put up with my obsessions and the big stacks of books all around the house, and the amount of time that I spend on this teaching business. I'm also really grateful for my father, who was a teacher, taught math from the 4th grade to the college level, and inspired me to understand the craft of teaching. Most importantly, though, I learned that the foundation for good teaching isn't my knowledge or a wonderful curriculum or the latest teaching fad, but my relationship with my students. They're the ones I'm most grateful for. I love them, not because they're the future, but because they're the middle schoolers I love now. I mean, I love the way they are now. They're trying to sort out the world. It's a very complicated thing to do. They're very real. They're very open, eager to learn. They don't have all the answers, and I don't either, so we can learn together. They can personally relate to the Stuart Firestein's ignorance and failure that we studied this year. And I hope they come away knowing that even though it might not always be evident, that we live in a beautiful world.